welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern at the request of Patreon subscriber Rick Hardpack, and this is Grixis Tempo. Going back all the way to when Ragavan was first printed, Ragavan and Dragon's Rage Channeler introduced Is It Murktide with the card Murktide Regent, which is notably not included in this deck. When we got Psychic Frog, those Is It decks turned into Dimir. So the shell of cheap threat that does something, like Psychic Frog or Ragavan, backed by Counterspell and efficient removal like Unholy Heat or Fatal Push. We know all about that in the modern world. However, the threat of choice in this deck, rather than top-end Murktide Regent, is Nethergoyf. And Nethergoyf is a 1-drop, obviously, very different than a 7-drop. They both care about the graveyard, but Nethergoyf continuously cares about the graveyard, where Murktide cares about the graveyard while it's in your hand, and then not again afterwards. I mean, there is it gets buffed more if more things get exiled, but for the most part, it's a cost-reducing tactic, and sets the size permanently when you play it. Nethergoyf, probably a 0-1 or 1-2 when you play it. We have fetch lands and Mishra's Baubles, might be a 2-3 on turn 1. Opponent immediately under some pressure, very different than dying in 2 hits much later in the game. That's one of the big changes here from the traditional shells that we've seen. The other is that we're doing both. I mentioned Ragavan, I mentioned Psychic Frog, I mentioned how Psychic Frog replaced Ragavan, but this deck has both of them in it, which is pretty sweet. Counterspells here, Force Negations here. We are basically adopting kind of a legacy play pattern. The big difference between legacy Delver style decks and the facsimiles that exist in Modern is the free permission. Daze and Force of Will do not exist in Modern, which means it generally makes more sense to get control of the game and then stick a big threat and protect it, like cast Murktide on a turn where you have Counterspell up, is generally the inverse, versus resolving a 1-drop then protect it for the whole game. And we're leaning into that legacy play pattern here, and there is a critical mass of 1-drops. There are 11 1-drops in the deck, and then 4 of one of the best 2-drops ever printed. And we've got Kaito, so any one of these things at any point could flip into something extremely powerful. There's only one card in this deck that you plan to spend 3 or more mana on. Ninjutsu and Kaito cost 3. Everything else costs 1 or 2 or 0. It's low to the ground, trying to get the game over. That makes a lot of sense to me. There's also a really cool trick in here that I hope comes up. Ragavan makes a treasure when it deals combat damage, and there is a step, the end of combat step, where creatures are still technically attacking even though damage has already been done, which means if you hit with Ragavan, if you play turn 1 Ragavan and hit with it on turn 2, you can spend 2 mana and the treasure to ninjutsu out Kaito in the end of combat step. A turn 2 Planeswalker with Hexproof, you just like plus it or you draw a card immediately and it's there for the rest of the game. That is a powerful play that I hope we get to do. Yep, staying low to the ground, trying to deal 20 before the opponent stabilizes. That's the name of the game here. Let's get into it. This is Grixis Tempo. I'm on the play in round 1, and I don't think I can keep this hand. Double Force Negation is highly polarizing. This might be completely blank. This might be a mull to 5 already. And my deck with 11 1-drops, like I said, in the deck tech, currently is looking at 0. So I'm going to mulligan. This one still is missing the 1-drop, but it is better than what we saw a moment ago. I'm casting Preordain this turn, so I'm just going to bobble my opponent. Ocelot Pride. So we're against probably Boros Energy. There is not a basic island in the deck because we have Harbinger in the sideboard. That's not a land type we need to protect. There is a swamp and mountain, which means I am fetching a non-basic here. And here I actually have to figure out what color I want. It's either Steam Vents or Watery Grave. I have another fetch. There are more red cards than black cards that I'd want to cast next turn. Okay, I'll get Steam Vents. Right, that decision won't take as long now that I've established that. All right, here they are, showing up. Top. Dragon's Rage Channeler and Ragavan. I'm going to draw the Ragavan with this trigger. So maybe knowing that Ocelot Pride is their draw, Ragavan is maybe not where I wanted to be. Whoops. Okay. Probably should have bought him this Ragavan, but it's still there for dashing. I think next turn I'm going to play Dragon's Rage Channeler and Fetch Land. There's a lot of powerful 2-drops that can come out of this deck. Goblin Bombardment, a Johnny. I don't think I can afford to tap out of Spell Snare. The best draw is a removal spell for me. Another Ragavan. Not what I wanted. A Dragon's Rage Channeler and pass. Hopefully they cast a spell that I can snare pre-combat that will give me Delirium and mean they can't attack. But instead they did it correctly. Yeah, don't give me that window if you can avoid it. So this will hit. It'll make a Token Cat. And they don't even have a 2-drop. I've been betrayed. The Surveil land in this deck is Thundering Falls, which does not help me. It does move cards around, but I don't have black mana. I think that's fine. I'm going to get Thundering Falls. And if they kill Dragon's Rage Channeler in response, it's not... I can't interact with that anyway. Yeah, that's fine. And they do get to bank 2 energy because it wasn't Delirious, but it's not like I was holding up Spell Pierce. Okay, Thundering Falls. There's the black mana. I will keep that. I'm mostly interested in a removal spell here. I'll try to preordain into it. So you should fetch before you preordain, generally when you cast this card, in case you top. But I also don't know if I need Basic Swamp or Watery Grave here for what's going to happen next. I am going to not fetch yet. Okay, bottom, top. And I am going to cook this Ocelot Pride. Cat token deals 1. They're fetching land number 3. Hate that for me. Getting basic plains. Are they main decking Blood Moon anymore? They did that for a while. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Well, that's not one I can counter. Right, Watery Grave tapped. Preordain. Let's move it around. Ooh, there's a Kaito. Is that useful? Am I ever going to connect? Is casting it for 4 mana something I'm going to do? I could dash Ragavan right now. If they block, I can play Blood Crypt, cast the other Ragavan. I could take the Blood Crypt dash, leaving up Spell Snare. I think I'm just behind here. My Spell Snare didn't line up, which basically meant I'm blanked and now they're past it. I don't think I want either of these. Okay, found a Fatal Push. All right, I will push the Goblin token and then hold up Spell Snare again. My nightmare scenario is if they discard Flage here, just get it comped. Seasoned Pyromancer in the graveyard. That has some graveyard text, but not nearly as good as Flage. Cat's got me to 12. I've done a lot of fetching here. We did it. Found a target for this thing. Okay, cool. They discarded Galvanic Discharge to Fable last turn, which makes me think this Ragavan is not gonna survive combat. It'd be cool if it did. All right, we got in there. I got a Johnny. This is tricky because when a cat dies, oh, you may exile a Johnny. All right, that makes it easier. Because if this exiles and comes back, my opponent gets the Planeswalker. Yeah, I'll take it. If you just heard a crazy sound behind me, a giant, like, voice of God thunderclap just happened in my life, which also, of course, always comes with the concern of, I hope my power doesn't go out while I'm recording this league. But for now, we game on. Hey, they know I'm holding Ragavan, which means this cat token is now insanely good. The turns they were chipping in for damage with it were opportunities for me to dash a rag. Guide of Souls, currently 2 energy available. And Goblin Bombardment. Bad news. That card's really good. Okay, I guess I just play Ragavan here. I could dash it. They would probably just block with cat token. I think I'm going to fetch Basic Swamp just to conserve life here and dash the rag with that. Because once they get this reflection happening, I'm just insanely cooked. I'm going to try to either reduce their life total or their creatures in play before they have the Unstoppable Engine going. They could block and ping, but they can ping anytime. That's the problem with Goblin Bombardment. All right, yep, block ping. I am not going to flip my Johnny. And now I need a removal spell real quick. One that kills a large Guide of Souls. And it's turn 6. They haven't played a land since turn 3. Every card in their hand is a spell, unless they drew a land this turn. But at least 3 of the cards in their hand is a spell. Them flooding out is not my hope here. Okay, they drew that land this turn. 3 spells in hand. Ugh. I don't think I can afford to counterspell this on the way in. even though it is a big pile of damage, because they get the Helix and then they can also fling it. They can't copy it, though, because it's a legend. Wow, all face, ignoring a Johnny. So they're going to fly with this Guide of Souls. I'm at 7. They can attack me for 4 or 3. There's quite a bit of removal in the deck, though. We're not necessarily dead yet, but I do need to draw it, like, now. I'm at 1 on board, because they can copy Guide of Souls and then throw Goblin Bombardment 3 things at me. All right, now we're dead. Yeah, if I dash Ragavan, they just copy Guide of Souls, block, ping me. Yeah, that doesn't help. All right, GG. Got up under me. Best deck in the format. Engineered Explosives looks good. Stern Scolding, that's what you're here for. Force of Negation, the Stains. And Ragavan is historically not good against Boros Energy. Like we saw that game. The second one, the Redundant Legend, was just a card that didn't do anything the whole game. Plus, they have so many random 1x creatures in their deck that are happy to trade off with it. But now I have a sweeper and a way to counter most of the cards in their deck. Here we go. No lands at all. I have to mulligan this. Okay, we got some meaty fellas here. I will keep and bottom the swamp. I'm going to get Watery Grave, or... yeah, I need a black source that's also a blue source, which means Watery Grave. Like, Nethergoyf now, counterspell later. Alright, yep. That is what has to happen. Okay, so this is a 1-2. Already bigger than most of the cards in their deck. If they kill it, it makes the next one bigger. I'm just going to try to spam out 3 bodies and then hold up counterspell. Windswept Heath, Sacred Foundry. They do, of course, have ways to kill this, but if I put them on back tempo, that's fine with me. Yo, the nuts. All right, that was a great find. This has to be Steam Vents for everything to work. DRC. Mishra's Bauble, guaranteed second card type. Do I want Basic Swamp? I don't think I want to see that ever again. I'm going to attack first before I bauble, in case they forget that I can sacrifice this. They remembered. All right, bauble you. Blooded Strand is your draw. Another 2-3 is my play. All right, here we go. The juice is loose. Fatal Push, great draw. Fatal Push is another card type. Static Prison. All right. Pick your favorite of my 3 redundant dopes. Pick the one that let you attack for 1. Fair enough. Do they have another play? They did not. It's not bad. Okay, hold up Counterspell versus Fatal Push this thing. I'm going to hold up Counterspell. It's definitely 1 and maybe as many as 4 less damage. If I mill up another card type, that'll both add to Nethergoyf and give me Delirium. That's like +4. But not letting them get to the spot last game where they just had too many permanents and I couldn't keep up with them all. That's what I'm trying to do here. The Parlor. Dumped a Goblin Bombardment. Get it out of here. Hate that card. I love that card. I just hate playing against it because of how good it is. But all-time banger. And they're fetching their 3rd land. Please just slam some 3-drop. That would be great for me. Even if it's Flage, I'll counter it. But if they have Fable or try to Blood Moon me or something here, Seasoned Pyromancer, those are all great targets for Counterspell. Alright, well, they played the one that is the best one. I guess here it's interesting because now I don't have to Counterspell. Like, Flage can come in and I could push. Like, if they target Nethergoyf, they're getting completely blown out here. And if they don't target Nethergoyf, I'll just get a Surveil on the way out and kill Guide of Souls. All right, yeah, they are targeting the correct thing. But I'm going to kill Guide of Souls and get a Surveil. Preordain. That gives me Delirium, which doesn't matter, but it does help Nethergoyf. All right, I'm going to put that in the graveyard. It's Nethergoyf's game from here. Okay, I have a 5/6 creature and Counterspell up. Psychic Frog, hell of a draw, but I mean, if I can just crack for 5 a couple times while the other one is ticking down, let's put that wall up. Nethergoyf grows so fast. The old Tarmogoyf math. I remember when Tarmogoyf came out, I was actively playing Magic at that point, and nobody mentioned it for like 3 weeks. And then it was like, hey, this card might be pretty sweet. I think there was one article talking about maybe Tarmogoyf is a good sideboard juke in a dredge deck or something. That's what we thought of these cards at the time. Okay, they slam the Arena of Glory. This has to be Flage, and I am ready, Freddy. Oh yeah. Nethergoyf. Another Goyf. I think Nethergoyf's better than Psychic Frog here. Though Psychic Frog flies, but it does also die to Galvanic Discharge. Alright, I'm just ramming another 5-power creature into play and having Fatal Push in my hand. The Static Prison is about to eat their last energy. Fetching down to 3 is pretty cool if they use that. Guide of Souls, that is a passive source of life gain. Down to 3. Fable. Alright, so you're at 4 life with 2 blockers, which by my count means dead. I'll just see if I can glimpse a sideboard card. Alright, nope. Just push one of these things and they're dead either way. How about Nethergoyf, folks? That was a big old creature. Drawing 3 of those, pretty nice. Okay, on the draw. They've got Static Prison, they've got Goblin Bombardment, Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Those are all things that are nice to counter, and Force of Negation might be good enough to do that. Like, Ragavan is just pretty bad against them, and on the play I was willing to give it some benefit. I think on the draw, I'd rather have some forces in and focus on my better creatures. There's still 1 rag in there for high rolls. I'll give them a chance. I might be right to just have the forces in on the draw, though. The deck does have some triggered abilities in it, but without the 1 ring in the format anymore, I don't think we're bringing in Consign here. Oh, the 1-lander is scary, and it's the wrong 1 land to go with Lightning Bolt. The cards in this hand are so good, though. I'm going to keep. So from here, oh, great start. Any land, a Bauble, a Preordain are all good hits. Nethergoyf I wouldn't be disappointed in. Okay, I guess I am shocking this in because I have 2 answers. Or I was shocking it in first turn Scolding anyway, but Fatal Push just made it even more true. Alright, deck, help me out. Yeah, always had it. Magic's easy. I could shove Psychic Frog here. How many cards am I willing to discard to protect it? Like, if they end step Galvanic Discharge, I discard 2 cards, they just bank the energy, untap Static Prison me. I have Engineered Explosives to break that up, but I am down 2 cards. I think I'm just going to play DRC. Steam, Vents, Channeler. At least make them start doing something. Fetching basic planes in my end step. Celestial Purge? Hell yeah. Alright, that's gone. They spent 2 mana answering my 1-drop. Deal. Goblin Bombardment. I cannot interact with that permanent on the stack. Another Parlor. I'd love to draw a land that casts Psychic Frog. If I could play Frog while holding up Stern Scolding, that's enough for me. Bummer. Alright. Preordain. I'm being careful about this thing. Ugh. I think I'm just bottoming both of these. So the land is really what I need here. I hope they cast the 1 ring and I can call the judge. That's a quick way out of this game. Fable. Yep. My removal doesn't line up, or my counter doesn't line up against that either. My removal does, though. I will take 1 from Bombardment, because every creature comes with attacks now. Probably should have waited till the end step. That was turn 4, right? Okay, I can fetch basic Swamp to do, or I have a lot of red cards in my hand. I think I'll just take my medicine if they have a thing I need to Sternly Scold. Weather update for those worried about it. The rain has come. There are like rivers of water gushing off the roof. I could see them going past the window I record in front of. As always, hoping the power holds out here, but nature is raging right now in my life. The good news is, though, we just planted a brand new baby tree in my yard. The power company hacked down all our trees a couple years ago, and we finally started to replace them. And baby trees are very thirsty, so come on, rain. Feed that tree. Just don't knock out my power. The whole time I've been talking about the weather, my opponent is deep in the tank about this. Fable the Mirror Breaker. Either that or they lost power from the storm. I assume they're my next door neighbor. Does Magic Online pair geographically? We discarded just a Thraben Charm after several minutes in the tank. Or several minutes making a sandwich. It's hard to tell. Alright, well, this is what we've been holding Stern Scolding for the whole time. I think I want to index towards red here. Steam Vents. Scold this jerk. Oh, did they have 2 of them the whole time? Celestial Purge. Yep, that's going to work. But you knew that already. Okay, I could invest my Engineered Explosives. Just like pick a number here. Or I could hold up my various options. If I drew the land, I think I would have shoved Kaito, but I didn't. Okay, I'm just going to pass. The first Celestial Purge was funny. The second one's disappointing. Guide of Souls. I can kill that. Another Fable. Okay, explosives on 3 just became interesting. I'm going to start by pushing the Guide of Souls. I don't want them to bank any energy here. Fable's in. Lightning Bolt can go face, but they're at 18. I don't think that's how I'm going to get out of this game. So I'm going to bolt the Goblin Gem in here. I'm at 9. They're at their last card in hand. All right, I'm actually just going to go full empty the clip here and hope that Kaito shows up. Okay, I'm at 8. Another Goyf. All right, I mean, that one's big and can become Kaito. And I think I want to explosives for 2. Just invest this in this situation. Goblin Bombardment, a Johnny, front and back. I discarded 2 lands, including Arena of Glory. I'm happy to see that one go, but not happy they got so much card selection. Okay, they have passed the turn. All right, attack. No blocks. It's Kaito time. I can see that my microphone is actually picking up the rain at this point. I would like to surveil 2 and draw a card. Force of Negation, Preordain. I think Force of Negation is a no. Preordain. I want to play Nether Goyf here. That does unfortunately put me to 5, which is almost dead to Flage instantly from a bombardment. All right, I am going to keep the Preordain because that's a good last card to have in hand next turn. Watery Grave. Got to take the pain. All right, here we are. I am ahead, but my life total is low. It's weird they didn't do anything with 4 mana last turn. So does that mean they have 2 burn spells or 2 reactive spells? Or did they actually just fully flood out and hit lands? Were they waiting for me to tap out so they can do stuff? Raven Charm exiling my graveyard. Okay. Nether Goyf is little now. Okay, so reactive spell is the answer. They get to bank 2 energy here, but their hand is empty. They get the Fable flip, and they're just ripping off the top right now. Oh god, just the best card in your whole deck! Alright, so I literally lose right now, right? I take 1, they make a cat, which deals 2 to me. Yep, literally fucking dead. Okay, cool, perfect. Great. Fun was had. No, it was a good back and forth match, but that was the best card in their deck. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. On the play in round 2, here we are again with one of these hands that does not have a 1-drop, but this one does see Baubles 1, Preordains another 3, Draw Step is 5, and Fetch Land 6. I can look at 6 cards before my second turn. I will keep this. Because Nether Goyf takes a moment to heat up anyway, so does Nether Goyf. And Ragavan is the worst of the draws from here. Okay, I'm going to bobble myself. Opponent's on 6. Seeing another bobble. No, thank you. I'm going to get... I think I'm getting Steam Vents here, even though I already have a Steam Vents, because I'm holding on Holy Heat and I don't want to have to take extra damage to do that next turn. Right, bottom the Swamp. I'll take the Ragavan. Alright, pass, I get a draw. I have Force Blue card available if I need it. That would be some mess if I need it on turn 1. Wood of Foothills. Forest. Utopia Sprawl. Okay. I don't think that's worth forcing. I'm just saying. Now, Dash Rag or Play Rag? Well, I get to look at the top of their deck. I could look at my own deck with like Fetchland value, or I can see if this is something I want to steal. Utopia Sprawl only a chance of Forest, so I don't want that card. I will play my Ragavan in normal mode and pass. So I'd like to convert this into a Kaito at some point. And it's a lot harder to do if I'm spending 2 mana on it every turn to get it into combat. Eldrazi, 4 mana, didn't do anything with it. Could be Kozilek's Command. I have Force. if they go for it. Oh no. Oh, okay. Kozilek's return. Wrong Kozilek object. Alright, would I rather have Kaito in play or Counterspell in my hand? I think I'd rather have Counterspell in my hand. Pitch Kaito. Yeah, clearing that into exile is actually super dope. Get a tapped Watery Grave here. And Ragavan, bring me home, buddy. Do your Abandoned Legacy thing. Got a Windswept Teeth. That's not the Abandoned Legacy thing. Steam Vents tapped past the turn. I have 2 Delirious Unholy Heats and a Counterspell available. Bajuka Bog at LMAO. Alright, yeah, the passive Bajuka Bog got me here. Just in the Sowing Mycospawn package, but I no longer have Delirium. Though, of all the threats in my deck, Ragavan is the one that cares about the graveyard the least. Talisman of Impulse resolves, and then they have a Utopia Sprawl in their hand, or they could have a 2-drop still. There's the Sprawl. 2 cards left over there. Alright, Ragavan, find me something cool. My lands continue to be the worst. I got a Devourer of Destiny, a card that I cannot cast, because it costs colorless mana that my deck does not make. I would need to hit 2 Talisman of Impulses first, and then I could take that thing. I am glad to see it go, though. Commercial District. What if they leave the card, hoping that Ragavan clears it, but then I don't attack with Ragavan and I break their draw for a turn? What a level system that would be. I think the damage and the treasures are worth it, even if I thought that did happen. Another Goyf, finally. Alright, something to do. Alright, what did they leave on top for me? Maybe they just forgot I have Ragavan, and the top of their deck is like, I don't even know. I could cast Sowing Mycospawn, I could cast Thought-Knot Seer. Oh, something's happening. It's a big old Kozilek's command. I will counter that. Hopefully that means the card on top of their deck is actually good, and they were just hoping to draw it before I took it from them. They left a mana floating. Was that a misclick, or do they have a second spell? Okay, just left an X on the table. Cavern of Souls. Alright. I didn't want that. You lied to me. Okay, they are drawing wild. They have 1 card in their hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 9 mana for Eldrazi, 8 mana for anything else. Looks like they're just bricking, though. Oh, the counterspell, let's go. Now we're pushing real damage. Flipping a forest. This has been the worst Ragavan in the history of Earth. I'm not fighting over Utopia Sprawl, though that might turn on Ulamog next turn if they've been sitting on a 10-drop in their hand. Okay, they have not. They are fully hellbent. Top deck mode versus counterspell, but Eldrazi are quite good against counterspells. There's no reason to Unholy Heat my Nethergoyf because I already have a instant in the graveyard. Right, here we go. Ragavan, please. No! Alright. The world's worst Ragavan continues. It has done like 10 damage, though. Uh-oh. Mana being tapped. Sowing Mycospawn, fully con queso. Right, well, luckily I have enough treasures that I don't need that black mana. Sanctum of Ugin. Do I counter this, or do I hit it with 2 Unholy Heats? I think I hit it with 2 Unholy Heats. Do I draw for turn first? I think I do. If I hit, like, Dragon's Rage Channeler, that's better. Alright. Eat that. I just have so many treasures that I don't really need to be that mana efficient here. But if there was one more card type in my graveyard, that Bajuka Bog saved them. Alright, Ragavan, you got another chance here to hit a spell that does anything. Oh my goodness. A Mycospawn. Okay, so I can kick this. The land comes in untapped. Of course it does. This card's so broken. Alright, cast with kicker. 1, 2, 3. Oh wait, the kicker is colorless. I can only cast it with the front. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I would like Blood Crypt. No, it's Watergrave. Mostly doesn't matter, as long as it's blue. And it doesn't even have to come in. Tapped. Alright. 1 draw step to rule them all, but this is a deck that has draw steps that could rule them all, especially with the Sanctum of Ugin around. Okay, the world's worst Ragavan and the world's mopiest Nethergoyf managed to get over the line. Consigned to Memory. I've heard that's good. Harbinger of the Seas. Rick has been talking about his deck a bit in the BoshNRoll Discord, and he said that Harbinger is fine but not necessary. But Consigned to Memory, obviously, what we're doing here. Maybe on the play, I'll mess around with Harbinger of the Seas if there's a game 3, if I can get it down quick. But they do have the talismans and the basics and the Utopia sprawls and all that stuff. Okay, here we go. 4 bad cards out, 4 great cards in. There he is, my son, Ravioli, again. A 1-lander, but it's a 1-lander with Consigned to Memory. I'm rocking it. Opponent is on 6 cards. Commercial District. I like that start. There's not a lot of 4-drops they can cast on turn 2 if that's the start. Okay, bauble them. Kozilek's Command, good to know about. And I am going to prioritize Ragavan here with my mana. I could get Blood Crypt and cast the creatures, but I really want these counters up, so Steam Fence it is. And of course, if Ragavan connects, then I have mana, and I'm good. Lightning Bolt. Okay, yep, Ugin's Lab is really good here. That gives them the command, and they should just cast it now before I untap. Yeah, Ugin's Lab plus Imprint or Eldrazi Temple both get them where they needed to go there with the Kozilek's Command we knew they were drawing. And there it is. Now I really need to draw a Black Source. Shit. Alright, well, pass the turn. I was pretty heavy on that. And on the draw with a Bauble and a Ragavan versus a deck that is not great at getting on board early, I think I had pretty good chances to have my mana, and it just didn't work out this game. Cavern of Souls, cool. My hand is Consigned to Memory in it. Do you think they know that? Malevolent Rumble. That's not a card I can counter. Also, pretty cool they tapped their Cavern of Souls to do it. Eldrazi Temple or Sanctum of Ugin. They took the Eldrazi Temple. I could just bolt their face in the end step here to avoid going to discard. I think I'm going to do that. My plan is to deal 20 to them anyway. Ooh, okay. Well, with these spawns around, that's not a reliable thing. Ooh, end step. Is this a value Cozy's Command? Sure is. And make 2 dopes, scry 2. Went bottom. Love to see it. They've got 8 mana, and the Eldrazi can be uncounterable. World Breaker. Well, I obviously have to counter this trigger. Can I even win this game? Alright, I think I'm just going to concede and not... I mean, if they play Modern, they know I have Consigned to Memory. It's not like, aha, my secret sideboard card. But at the same time, like, I don't have to put it directly into the front of their brain. And I think I'm going to shave 1 Force of Negation and 1 Lightning Bolt to make room for 2 Harbingers and continue. The problem with that game was just, you know, not hitting a land ever. All right, well, this one doesn't even start with a land. Okay. Keep, and I'm going to bottom one of the counter spells. They're on 7 and they revealed a Devourer to start the game. I'm going to wait for the Devourer trigger to resolve and then bauble them so I get to know what they took with the Devourer. They bauble you. They exiled 2 lands and a Sprawl. Kozilek's Command on top. We hate that one. Forest. Sprawl. Alright, deck. Don't be a dick. Deck is being a huge dick. Alright, Preordain. Deck, don't be a dick again. Deck continues being a big, smelly dick. Bauble to the bottom. I have to hit a land here. There's really no other. Alright, I mean, Bauble, Preordain, Draw Step. There's a lot of cards in a row. We have 17 actual lands in the deck, which is pretty low for a Modern deck. That's actually low for a Legacy deck. Writhing Chrysalis. That thing's big. Okay, gotta keep Daining. Oh my god. Bauble to the bottom. I don't think I can afford to take this Consigned to Memory. Oh my god, we're gaming. I will get Blood Crypt and play the other Nethergoyf. Is Ragavan more important than Counterspell? I could just get Watery Grave here. What is Ragavan ever going to do this game? Nothing. I think that's actually the answer. Alright, it's Watery Grave. Add the other Goyf to the party. Unfortunately, Kozilek's Command is just insanely stacked against Nethergoyf. It can exile one of them and exile my graveyard to make the other one irrelevant. Or they could just make a bunch of spawns and block it forever. But this is the part of the league where I start to reflect on whether I'm not mulliganing or sequencing correctly, or if the deck actually does need another land in it. Because we've played 6 games now. This is the 6th game, and had mana problems in 3 of them, I think. Or there's the third possibility where I am not making poor strategic decisions or poor tactical decisions, and the deck is constructed correctly, and we've just hit the bad variance of running such a low land count. It's like bobble, preordain, 2 draw steps in between, just find a second land on turn 3. 17 lands out of 60 cards, that's slightly worse than 1 out of every 3 cards is a land. And seeing 10 cards and one of them's a land is unlucky, but maybe like a 6-card hand with a 1-drop and a counterspell is actually just better than a 7-card hand with questionable mana and some cantrips. Devour of Destiny is here already. This game is not winnable. All right, I'm just going to get out of here. They are way ahead of me at this point. Okay, I'm going to pay attention to the mulligans and everything moving forward. Rick did say this he intends to RCQ with this deck for the rest of the season, so something like a responsible land count, sussing it out, is part of my job here.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
Yeah, here I am on the draw in game 3. 17 lands in the deck is 1 out of every basically 3.5 cards is a land in the deck, and 7 cards you would expect about 2 lands, and seeing 0 this many times might just be catching some variance here. And I mean, here it is again. Looking at 14 cards and seeing 1 land. I mean, I'm gonna keep. I don't think going to 5 is the solution. It's Eldrazi again. A chance at redemption. They exiled. Oh, it's Etron. This is fun. All right, well, it's a different Eldrazi. This one definitely the Harbinger's coming in against. I think I have to preordain here. Like, there's not a lot of turns where Spell Snare is going to do anything against Etron, but also I have to hit my land drops and find a threat, or I'm not doing anything anyway. Ugin's Lab. Expedition map. Okay. They can map and search. Wow, what is this expedition map? Lost Caverns of Ixalan Commander. I've never seen that art before. It looks like the map is on a quilt. Okay, the flavor text explains it. All tech maps are not simple charts of place and distance. Each tells the story of exploration and learning, celebrating the meaning beyond discovery. Okay, so it is like a family heirloom. That happens to be a map. That's some national treasure shit. Shout out to Nicolas Cage, if you're watching. I'm going to bobble myself. A bobble. All right, yeah, I definitely don't want that. I will fetch and take the damage on his Steam Vents and pass. Okay, they do have Tron. Not in play, but revealed that they're capable of doing it. Okay, no thank you on that one. Something even larger will show up next turn. If I draw a land, I can dash Rag and still have my counterspell up. Okay, deal. Dash Rag. If that was a red or blue land, I could have just cast Rag, which might have been better. But if they cast Ugin and exile the Rag on the cast trigger, that's not ideal for me. All is dust. All right, well, I won't be casting that. I prefer when things aren't dust. Leaving up a shitload of mana. So, Kozilek's Command. Okay, another land. All right, let's dash that boy. 9 mana in the pool. I don't think I'll be able to spell snare whatever they play here. Well, this is make X jerks, scry X draw, X equals 7. Well, I don't think I'm going to beat that. I also don't think I'm going to beat them if they untap and slam Ugin or Karn, but gotta try. I took a Sire of 7 depths. Okay, Preordain while my treasures still work. Fatal Push probably sucks. Preordain in my hand. Preordain. Does bobbling them make any sense? I am delirious. I do have Kaito. There is this 6/6 face up. All right, I'm going to go top. Just because putting the bauble on the bottom is the same as using it, but now I get to look at their top card as well. Eldrazi Temple, okay. Rag's back in my hand. I draw Unholy Heat. Ooh. Karn Lib. Wasn't expecting to see him. Exile a card from my hand. You can have the Spell Snare. What do you say? Right, there's the Temple. 1 card left in their hand, plus the Devourer they can still wish for. 14, it restarts the game. Okay, I mean, I could do the Kaito trick here, but they can exile Kaito, so that doesn't help. I'm just going to dash Ragavan into their smelly face. I can deal 8 to Karn, not 10. It's crazy that they're still at 16. I feel like we've played enough game, but they should be at like 5. What do you think, opponent? You want to just lose 11 life for me here? Give me a chance. Attack you. Glaring Fleshraker. Oh, wish I could cast that. And they're so insulated against Ragavan. Maybe that's a strong critique of this deck as well. I think I'm just gonna pick up Rag and not play Nethergoyf here because they have 2 face-up answers to Nethergoyf. Yeah, maybe a reliance on being ahead, playing 4 Ragavans in a format that is pretty hostile to Ragavan is reasonable criticism. All right. Kaito or Nethergoyf, who do I think is better? Kaito is card advantage at least. All right, Nethergoyf's gone. I have to Unholy Heat this card, unfortunately. All right, they just bought their Devourer. Okay, if they're just playing that as a blocker, I can heat that. Still don't have a good answer to card. All right, Devourer with no target. But that does make Kaito better. Heat. All right, deck, what do you got for me? Nethergoyf. Dashing Rag costs 2. Ninjutsuing Kaito costs more. If Karn restarts the game, restart the game, leaving in exile all non-aura permanents, then put those on the battlefield. So if they restart the game with Nethergoyf, how bad is that? I mean, it's just a creature. And if it dies, it goes to my graveyard. It'll be 0/1. Okay, I think I am going to continue ragging the face. Back my opponent. I do have my end of combat step hold on here. Yeah, I think I'm going to dump out my hand. Glaring Fleshraker, another card I can't play. Blue. Right. Kaito is in after damage is dealt. I'm going to Surveil 2 and draw a card. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Interesting. In the Blood Crypt. I will take the DRC and I'm going to play Nethergoyf. Now Karn has to decide if it's going to minus on Nethergoyf or Kaito. And I still have Ragavan in my hand to dash with. Obviously their deck's full of big draws, but I have at least presented steady pressure through the active Karn. Oh, they're still hitting my hand. All right, you can have Dragon's Rage Channeler. I like the dash. Oh no, they're spending mana. No! Yikes. All right, Kaito's gone. Is your last card in hand also a spell? They use the draw mode. Any spell, I'll concede. Okay, yep. The Lethal Expedition map. To the sideboard we go. Fatal Push and Spell Snare coming out. I left Spell Snare in versus traditional like Temur Eldrazi, Gruul Eldrazi, because that deck has the talismans, the Malevolent Rumbles, stuff like that. Etron does not do that sort of thing. Well, they are a Karn deck. Is Meltdown something I want? I don't think so. They might have some Relic of Progenitus or something around. But this is what I'm going to do. All right, keep. I'm going to throw crap at the wall until something sticks. Channeler, go. I played Eldrazi-tron, like Mono Brown Eldrazi-tron on the channel a while back, and it was actually really good. Like, distressingly good. Obviously, that does not bear out in the metagame at large, but as a person who hates that sort of deck, traditionally, let me tell you, it was pretty good. I had fun with my experience. Take your 1, and I will take 3, play a frog. I can't fetch basic swamp here. I don't know if I would even if I could, but I literally can't. That's a paper-only play. Getting swamp with Scalding Tarn. Okay, they will have turn 3 Tron. Can I cause more problems for them in the meantime? Drawing a Consign or Counterspell this turn would be pretty nice. Ooh, the land. Is Kaito where I want to be, or is having mana up where I want to be? I guess I can decide after damage. It's the same trick with Ragavan. Like, I can draw my card from Psychic Frog before I decide if I want Kaito in play or not. Okay, so Frog draws a card. We're still in combat. All right, second main. I guess I just play another Frog and hope I'm not dead. If they all as dust me, I am in some trouble. They are going to have 7, but if their play is... I mean, Ugin cooks me here too. If they spend any time respecting Consign to Memory, but they're not in a position to do that. Like, they're dead if they don't cast a spell. They can't let me draw 3 cards in a turn. Mindstone. I mean, that's probably good news if Mindstone is what they had. Now they're showing 6 mana. Oh, let's go. 5 mana left. Thought Not Seer. Should I just discard my whole hand? That would be Planeswalker, land, creature. No, that sounds completely berserk. They probably have to take Kaito here. Yep, Kaito's gone. Okay, Bloodstained Mire. I can attack with the 2 frog. I could attack with everything. And if they block Dragon's Rage Channeler, I cannot get Delirium. I could dash Ragavan, or I could just keep these things. All right, I'm just going to attack with my creatures. All of them. If they block a frog, then they definitely have Dismember. Okay. The DRC dies. They take 2, I draw 2. Harbinger, yeah, let's go. I was just going to say that's one of my best draws here. Okay, I'm going to fetch Basic Swamp. Fetch Basic Swamp, play Ragavan, play Harbinger, and hope Dismember is not the 1 mana they're showing. They have 5 down and dirty raw mana. I guess the double Mindstone, they can Kozilek's Command, but it would cost them their whole turn. Okay, they do have Dismember. They untapped and then played it, which is interesting. That opens up Force of Negation, so that makes me think they just drew it. There's Karn. Don't like that. 4 mana left, plus they could still make a land this turn. Like Ensnaring Bridge isn't that bad. My creatures aren't that big. Okay, Tormod's Crypt. That can stop my frogs from flying, kind of. But only if they do it now. Another Thought Not Seer. Alright, well, I'm discarding Psychic Frog. Everything else is a land. If they don't crypt on their own turn, it won't matter that they did that. They saw the line. Okay. I can still fly one of these frogs or buff either one up to big enough. I could just like kill Karn and draw a card. They're at 11. That's not enough to just send it for damage. Okay, if the last card in their hand is Dismember, I'm in trouble. I have to discard 3 to get flying. Attack Karn. They don't have Dismember, they would have used it already. And can I get a replacement Harbinger? Nethergoyf. Alright, the Mighty 0/1 Nethergoyf. I think that is better as a card I can discard than as a Nethergoyf. I guess I could have discarded this 3rd card to the 2nd frog just to diversify my threats a little bit. That would be a little tougher versus a little more durable versus a single removal spell. Yeah, I didn't need to deal 5 to Karn, I just needed to deal 3. If I had discarded 1 card to this one and 2 to this one, then I would have a 3/4 that could be 4/5. Yeah, that was way better. I should have 2 3/4 frogs right now, not 1 5/6 frog. They've dumped their Mind Stones. They clearly did not have the juice, but they did just draw 3 cards this turn. And they have all the mana in the world. The new Karn. Now Ensnaring Bridge is actually bad. There it is. There are 2 cards still in their hand. 1 card still in their hand. This frog can attack. Does that do anything? I'm a card short in my hand. I don't really play card advantage. So I think I'm just fucked. Yeah, just not having a counterspell at any point. And if both of these decks just play face up and all of their spells resolve, the Tron deck's gonna win. Liquid Metal Coating. They can coat this frog. Okay. Glaring Fleshraker, pretty good. Liquid Metal Coatings here. There's 1 card in their hand, which is the important number. All right, now I'm dead. I don't have an Ottawa. I don't have a Brazen Borrower. Yeah, there's truly no way out of this. The Meltdown I thought about bringing in the sideboard, then didn't do, would help here. I don't know if you're supposed to build your strategy around they resolve Karn and they activate it, then they also resolve Ensnaring Bridge. Then what? Okay, here's Force of Negation. That would have stopped this line from being a problem. All right. There's no way they're going to pass with a card in their hand ever. Yeah, I'm just locked out here. So sequencing with the frogs, I did do it wrong. It's not the reason I lost this game, but that could have been managed better. And the send it beat down plan, I did beat them pretty hard for a while. I drew 5-6 extra cards off Psychic Frogs this game, and here 19 cards into my deck I find my first counter spell the turn after it matters. Yeah, that might have been a mulligan issue. These decks are hard to play. Like, this is one of the critiques I have of the frog decks in Modern is that they're kind of hard to play, and you need to be hyper dialed in and do everything correctly just to maintain your 49% win rate against the field. Whereas this opponent just like drew a card, put it on the stack every turn, and that's what my last round opponent did too. Not a lot of decisions made, and they still won while I'm over here doing advanced calculus to just not quite win. On to the next round.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables.
I'm on the draw in round 4. Okay, I'm at my expected 2 lands for the first time in history. I have good threats and good interaction up the curve. Ooh, all right, we're playing against Belcher. That's cool. I would like to apply pressure here. I could leave up Spell Snare for Thundertrap Trainer, which then also turns off future Flare of Denials. But this Kaito's not going to happen if I don't have someone one in play. Logi Archaeologist, yep. There's one of the things. Snapback, Seagate, Resto, and Suppression Field. Snapback, wow, they took it. More interested in a free bounce spell than their next land. Fair enough, that's allowed. Well, I'm going to Lightning Bolt your creature. Would you like to snap it back in response? Counterspell. If I bin this, they're going to know I'm set on counterspells, but I think it is just correct to bin it anyway. Okay, so Flare of Denial is off right now, and I can Spell Snare the next creature they play. I have Force of Negation and Counterspell next turn for when Lotus Bloom wakes up. Boom, got him. Ragavan. I don't think I'm interested in that. Hydroelectric Lab. There's 3 mana. Okay, here. Bloodstained Mire. What am I missing? I'm missing... Preordained gives me Delirium. And I still have Force Counterspell. Okay. I mean, I'll fetch Shock first. Get Watery Grave. And I'll Preordain. Don't need this Ragavan either. Don't need Fatal Push. I will take Force of Negation. I can't cast all of the forces I have, but if I survive this turn, I can untap with 3 mana and have the other force. And if they want to spend 2 cards in their hand to snap back this, yeah, they just snapped pitching Flare of Denial. That's not a fight I'm having. We're going to fight over their Lotus Bloom here, and then I'll get back to attacking. And I'm actually going to Force of Negation this first, because if they have Tameshi, I want this in exile, and I can't Force of Negation Tameshi after that. Cool, we did it. They pass with no additional juice. DRC, you're back. It didn't get Disrupting Shoal on the way back down. They could have just spent 3 mana on it. Okay, they're going to whir for... Yeah, I'll counterspell this. I should fetch first. No, all right. I should fetch first, but I also want to leave up some semblance of interaction just in case. And if they Force of Negation this counterspell, then they are ripping off the top with only 6 mana, which means even if they draw Belcher, I'm not dead just yet. I'm probably dead on the following turn because I don't play removal for something like a Belcher. All right, end step, I'm going to get my Surveil land. Or they're going to whir a main phase. All right, I have to hope they don't have Tameshi. Thundering Falls. Unholy Heat. That would kill Tameshi, but not what I want. Sweet. All right, I do like adding pressure to the board while holding up a counter. Just doubled my clock. Annoying, but okay. This got back Jwari Disruption, Seagate, or Lotus Bloom. I got back Jwari Disruption, then played it as a land. If they just have Belcher in their hand, I'm not worried here. I can exile that and finish them off. If they do have Belcher plus Flare, that is exactly enough to get it done. Well, they didn't play a spell. All right. They're going to whir in my upkeep. What's the plan? Right, Force of Negation works here too for them. It also works for me. And they did this in my upkeep, which means I get the double surveil before my draw. Even if they win this fight, if I find a lightning bolt, I still win the game. Spell snare, no. Oof. All right, lightning bolt off the top, team. I'm hitting a one-outer here. Lightning bolt? Shit. All right. Yep, they got me by 1. Was there one more damage I could have done somewhere? All right, I guess we go to their turn, and I see what their cards in their deck are, and then we lose the game, and then board in a bunch of consigned memories. Okay, is there anything surprising here? Probably not. Yep, Belchers, Tameshis. These are all the things we'd expect. Okay. Consigned memory, just one of the best cards against them. Full stop. Engineered explosives could catch their Lotus Blooms in the upkeep, where the mana is not really useful to them. Meltdown, probably not interested. Harbinger of the Seas just makes them take less damage from their mana. Stern Scolding does counter all the creatures in their deck, the Tameshis and all the setups. Okay, if I cut Fatal Push, I think I quite like Ragavan in this matchup. Unholy Heat's Fatal Push is out. I still have Lightning Bolts that can go face or kill Tameshi. And I have 3 extra answers to Tameshi. Is that how we do this? Yeah, I think I can take my time versus their creatures. Like if they do have a Thundertrap Trainer stopping my Ragavan, like pushing and heating my way through it doesn't seem like the solution. I got Frogs, Goyfs, and DRCs in my deck somewhere. Speaking of, here we go. Keep another Goyf here and there. I didn't play around Gutshot. It's not a card they have. I'm mostly joking. Bobble you, Bayin Veil. Are you proud of me? I didn't say Baleen. I've learned what that card is called. There it is. Not a lot of information gained on that exchange. Okay. Another Bobble. I'm going to Bobble them first, and then I'm going to go Preordain into Nether Goyf in that order. Stern Scolding. Okay. Fetch for Steam Vents. Preordain. Gets me a 3rd card type. Don't like the land, love the counterspell. Goyf, real pressure. I've got a draw coming. The cool thing about the rules is that Stern Scolding doesn't counter another Goyf anyway. Not now. It would if I had 2 or fewer types in my graveyard, but now it doesn't. Thundertrap Trainer. I have the big squad. I can punch through this thing. Force of Negation. We know that one's over there now. Any blue card is good for me here. It's not a blue card. It could make my creatures bigger, though, and it did. Right. Bin the DRC. Attack for 8. Okay, they were willing to block. That means they're not trying to keep Flare online right now. There's just so much pressure. This feels great. Without the triple Lotus Bloom like they had last game, this feels a lot better. Seagate Reborn. Can't afford to take the damage. Lightning Bolt. That's the card I wanted last game. Okay, so they're dead. They could bounce one of these. Bayin Veil. Yeah, -2, -0 to the squad. Hell yeah. Using every part of the Buffalo there. I could have countered that and been hyper aggressive, but we know they're holding Force of Negation. Hydroelectric Lab. Okay, they're at 3, which means they have to beat a counterspell and a Lightning Bolt. I'm going to counterspell this. I'm holding the Lightning Bolt until my last gasp. Like, if this counterspell just works and I can attack them, it's fine. And if I can get to my turn, untap with Force of Negation and Lightning Bolt. Alright, didn't even need it. I think my deck makes sense. Nothing's going to change here. Here we go. Another no-lander. It's becoming a theme. Okay, 1 land with Ragavan. I'm in. I'll keep it, and it's either Lightning Bolt or Psychic Frog to the bottom. I guess it could be Mishra's Bauble. Like, Lightning Bolt helps the Ragavan get through if they have a creature on 2, which helps me continue to play my game. Bauble, bending the Bauble makes it harder to hit my next land drop. Psychic Frog is the best thing to do if Ragavan connects or if I hit my next land drop, though. I guess I could pitch Preordain. Like, Bauble sees a card deeper. while costing 0. All right, I'm gonna talk myself into that. If this Ragavan was Nethergoyf, Dragon's Rage Channel, or any of these other cards I play, I would not have kept the Lightning Bolt. But Ragavan's the one that needs to keep getting through. And look at that. We did it. Magic's easy. Bottoming Preordain was the smartest thing anyone's ever done. Tameshi, that's a good one to know about. And it's good news that I have a Lightning Bolt in my hand for that Tameshi. And there's a trick here. Consigned to Memory, you can counter the colorless spell of Lotus Bloom, or you can counter the triggered ability of cast a spell when it runs out of suspend counters. And if you counter the cast a spell, the thing just stays in exile where Tameshi can't use it. So that is the correct way to use that here. All right, there's another Bloom milled over with Archaeologist. Or they could take one of these lands. They took the land. Okay, Jwari Disruption. Okay, Blood Crypt. And now the master plan comes together. The reason I kept Lightning Bolt in my hand. Ragavan connects here, which lets me play Psychic Frog the turn before Lotus Bloom comes down, which is when I would start being worried about it. They have shown me Snapback is in their deck. Okay, Snapback, pitching, Hydroelectric thing. I think I'm just going to counter this, actually. This isn't really the plan that I had, but if I could just get a 2-for-1 and maintain tempo, hell yeah. All right, I stole a Tameshi. They probably didn't care about that anyway. Unfortunately, that play does mean if they cast Tameshi right now, they just have a 2-3 in play. Oh, then there's a Lotus Bloom in their graveyard already. Shit. That sucks. All right. Flagy Archaeologist. I cannot afford to stop them from milling here. It's Sink into Stupor or Suppression Field. Suppression Ray? What is the front of this card called? Suppression Ray, not Suppression Field. All right, they got Sink into Stupor in their hand, plus Tameshi, and one unknown. Yeah, this actually sucks pretty hard. I think because they milled over a Bloom already, I have to let this Bloom resolve and then try to fight over Tameshi. And Ragavan doesn't get to attack. I don't have a land to cast Psychic Frog with. All right, here's Bloom. I can still consign Belcher if they just cast it, but Tameshi is now the card I have to be scared of. And we know they're holding, or no, they played the Jwari Disruption. They have Sink into Stupor in their hand. If they go Tameshi, oh, they just played it. That's great. Good, good, good. Counterspell this. Hope they don't have anything to do about that. All right, Tameshi's gone. We're back to chillin', and Consigned to Memories in my hand. A blue land would be great. We did it. Okay, hold up Consign or Stick Frog. I'm gonna go for Frog. This game is just not moving forward if I don't advance, and Consign does stop the scariest card in their deck. Okay, so I don't want to see War of Invention here. I'm fine if they hardcast Belcher. Or at least I have a play if they hardcast Belcher. Their deck's full of free permission. If I untap here, I will feel very good. Nice. All right, I'm not going to fetch in the end step and leave shields down at all. Okay, well, here we go. If the last two cards in hand are Force of Negation blue card again, this is going to go the same way game one went. We counter this spell. We did it. We faded. Kaito. Both of these are good. I don't think I'm even going to jump frog. I'm just going to attack with both. They can decide if they want to give me a treasure or a raw card. I'd actually rather have the treasure because Consign's in my hand, weirdly enough. All right, I have a Disrupting Shoal. It won't be useful to me next turn. I should be allowed to discard those to Psychic Frog while I have them. Just saying. No way, Jose. Cast with Replicate. Push through that. Counterspell. Preordain. I could just hit with Frog, see what happens. Yeah, I think I should hit with Frog first. Frog goes in. I'm holding the Kaito. That could be burst damage later. Hit another Preordain. So Preordain. We want Consigned to Memories. I'll take a Force of Negation, though. A bottom top. And this... Oh, I could have Preordained again, held up Force. I am going to Preordain again, though. There's Consign. Okay, top. Delirious DRC. I have Force blue card in my hand. And I'm drawing Consigned to Memory. I was careful about what Psychic Frog ate so I wouldn't lose Delirium. Waterlogged Teachings. Go ahead, dig in. Does this even help? What does this do? They get Snapback, go Hellbent to just die next turn, or they get a War of Invention without 7 mana to get Belcher. They could grab Flare of Denial if the last card in their hand is Belcher, but then it would still take 2 turns for them to play and activate it. War of Invention it is. And here we're in another spot where I would actually prefer to deal more damage and get a treasure than to draw a card, so I'm going to attack with Ragavan. 3, 6. All right, yeah, they're dead next turn. And this treasure turns on, or no, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. JK. I was still thinking last turn when I had Blood Crypt up for some reason, but I can hard cast Force Negation now and still consign something if I don't want to lose my Kaito, but Kaito's not what this game's about. Him being blue is the job. Okay, they're passing to me with Whir in their hand. They can Whir for 2. They are dead if I simply move into combat. All right, here we go. Whatever happens, happens. This is also lethal. Whir for 1. This is probably... Could they play Relic of Progenitus? What is this doing? I'm just going to counter it. Do I care? Like, if this is Soul Guide Lantern, I lose Delirium, but then I can discard cards. All right, I will just counter it. Whatever. I have the counter spell. Let's not get weird. Basic Swamp into the graveyard. Flusterstorm. Okay, so the Whir is going to happen, but Frog is still lethal, even if this is Graveyard Hate. All right, what's going on here? Lotus Bloom. Okay, all right. All right, somebody miscounted there. I don't know. Or they were just goofing around. On to the next round. We're on the board. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round. I have my Expectation 2 lands in hand. I'm into it. And then depending on what they show me, I can decide which of these creatures I want to lead with. Opponent went to 6 with a Windswept Heath. Windswept Heath could be Boros Energy. If it's Boros Energy, I would rather have Dragon's Rage Channeler in play than the other options. Because if I play a second DRC plus Preordain next turn, that's a lot of gas real quick. Ooh, Hallowed Fountain. I wish I had played Ragavan. They didn't show me Kahira, though, so they're probably not some weird control deck. Oh, is this Neoform? What are we doing here? I know Neoform has been on the upswing a little bit. Oh yeah, it definitely is. We're fucking dead. Sweet. Okay, well, we're going to see how this deck works. So this Allosaurus Rider you can cast by pitching 2 green cards, and you Neoform it into whatever 8-drop suits your fancy. Grizzlebrand. That is an 8/8 creature that will be here forever and can draw a bunch of cards. And normally these 15 cards kill you somehow. Yeah, Nourishing Shoal, X equals 15. Pitching Autochthon Worm. That lets you draw another 14 cards. Another Worm pitch. Mox Amber. Now they have a black available. A third Shoal. They're back up to 26 despite having drawn 28 cards this turn. They could draw another 21 if they like. But they only have 15 left. I hope the card they need is the last 1 card they can't draw right now. I don't even know if that's how the deck works. Mox Amber, number 2. This can make another black. Sorin of House Markov. Okay, so this, beginning of each post-combat main phase, if you gain 3 or more life, flip this. Oh, this is sweet. And then it deals damage equal to the amount of life you gain this turn to any target. Sweet. All right, yeah, that's a really sweet, elegant win con, actually. I like it. Yeah, they're going to -1 and deal like 50 to me. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so the Sorin flip is a triggered ability. Consign has some play here. The Allosaurus Rider, I believe, has power and toughness equal to the lands you control. Or is it 1 plus the lands you control? That actually matters. I'm going to check Oracle real quick. Yeah, 1 plus the number of lands you control. So if they have 2 lands, it means Stern Scolding doesn't get it. Spell Snare, obviously excellent. Fatal Push doesn't matter. Well, Fatal Push could kill Sorin. Stern Scolding can get Sorin. These can all squeeze the Sorin if that's a thing that we think matters. Grafdigger's Cage obviously colds their whole deck. Unholy Heat. Do I actually want these Scoldings at all? Okay, what my opponent's doing, I'm looking at a list on MTG Goldfish right now of a recent 5-0 from Neoform, and this Sorin package is not how this build wins. Birthing Ritual, Eldritch Evolution, also in the deck. They play some number of Pact of Negation, so fighting over the back end of the combo is not what matters. I mean, I'm at least upping my blue count, I guess, for the forces. All right. I'm not super confident in all of these choices. All right, come on, Magic Online. Don't lag now. Okay, there we go. All right, well, here's the first turn 2 Kaito of the match, but it's in a spot where it might not matter. I am going to keep the hand, though. Yeah, the dream is here, but it didn't actually convert. It's a matchup where we don't get the benefit of that. But turn 1 Ragavan getting in there is something I'm interested in. And they multi 4. I like that. Revealed Chancellor of the Tangle. Oh my god, I might get turn 1. Oh, but if they Chancellor of the Tangle, then Stern Scolding does get the Shep. Alright, I'm just gonna land go, which is so fucking annoying when I have a turn 1 Ragavan on the play. But it would be sick if this sideboard Stern Scolding I wasn't even sure of does the thing. Weather update, by the way. I just got a severe flood warning on my phone. Emergency system has been activated. I live on top of a hill, I'll be okay. But it is still raining. Less hard than it was, but it's still happening. Okay, Multi 4 kept Chancellor of the Tangle. Breeding Pool. Tapped? What? Why would you keep this card in your hand if you aren't going to use it? Alright, I mean, I'm not complaining. I guess you got to draw stuff. Like on the draw, you might have just had to roll some dice there. I will actually take Blood Crypt. That lets me play Ragavan while leaving up blue mana. Even though the Stern Scolding no longer wins the game. Okay, it would be really weird if they can win this turn, but they couldn't win last turn, so I'm just going to not preordain. The option is hold up Stern Scolding that might not actually counter anything, or cast preordain looking for exactly Force of Negation. Okay, the Multi 4 giving me some breathing room here. I'm going to attack with Rag first. And I don't think I'm going to Ninjutsu this turn. I'd really like to... I took a land. Pretty sure they needed that. I'm going to get Watery Grave and then cast Preordain. Extremely interested in a counterspell. All right, there we go. Spell Snare hits Neoform and Birthing Ritual. Most of the things that I'm worried about out of them. They don't have 3 mana for Eldritch Evolution. Okay, they do have a land. Enters tapped. All right, flooding out. I might need Kaito here just for the additional card advantage. All right, so Rag can hit a flip here. Ooh. Disciple of Freelise. Oh, I'm a green short. When this creature enters, you may sack another creature. If you do, gain X, draw X for that. All right, I probably would not have guessed that anyway. I am going to Kaito. All right, second main, draw some cards. Surveil 2, draw a card. Consign to Memory, Psychic Frog. Ban Psychic Frog, take Consign to Memory, and redeploy Ragavan. Okay. I have 3 conditional pieces of interaction. One of them is really good against their deck, and the other are questionable, maybe great, maybe blank, probably blank. Pact of Negation, it's go time. This is unfortunately 3/3, and I believe it is a star. Yeah, it's 3/3. So I cannot counter that. They pitched 2 Chancellors, so they drew a Chancellor after revealing a Chancellor. That rules. Spell Snare. Please don't pact me, bro. Cool. All right. Multi 4, stumble, 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 win. We did it. We take them however they come. I'm not too proud. All right, this Bauble. Is there a card in my deck that is worse than Bauble? It might be Lightning Bolt. Just for the sheer velocity. Air quotes 56 card deck theory. All right, let's get it. Had a chance at turn 2 Kaito, and it was just not the correct play. I didn't even play the Ragavan that would have set it up ultimately. Oh my god, I have turn 1 Grafdigger's Cage, but I have the 1 tap land in the deck. I think I have to mulligan this. Like, this is the slam dunk card that I play. Oh no, I just lost power. We've been worried about it the whole league. I have a external power source that will keep the computer running for a little while. Let's hope this power kicks back on and I get internet back. Okay, the power is just a flicker. We're back. My opponent's on 6. I'm gonna mulligan this tap land killing me. This one, also does not answer a turn 2 send. Being on the draw here is so tough. Like, my opponent said, welcome back. Looks like you're getting hit with this storm as well. They must be a local. Okay. Well, opponent's on 5. I'll meet them there. Oh no, it's getting worse. I just wish Consigned to Memory or these other spells really like do anything. Though, am I all in on Ragavan? Unfortunately, with Basic Mountain, I can't even follow up with Psychic Frog if my opponent stumbles. Opponent's also on 4. I'll meet them there. Can I go to 3? I don't think so. I guess I just like keep land. I think I have to keep 2 blue lands, DRC and Bauble. Oh, what a nightmare. I have 3 Force of Negations in my deck. Just looked at 800 cards and didn't find one. Keep, bottom, Goyf, Crypt, and I guess it's Watergrave. Oh, another Voice of God Thunderclap just happened above my house. Haven't lost power yet, but okay. If we lose power, I'm counting this as a win. I'm just saying that, putting that out into the world. All right, well, there's one of the cards I bottomed. Steam Vents, DRC, Bobble, Surveil, Redraw, Counterspell on top. All right, am I getting a second turn? Okay, I'm gonna pass. Do I want to play chicken with this? No, it doesn't matter. Bobble you. Like, if they fetch for a Surveil land in the end step, I'd rather know what they're actually drawing. Okay, they shuffled away a Summoner's Pact. I hope they needed that. Hallowed Fountain tapped. All right. Summoner's Pact is not the draw. Okay, fingers crossed. Don't kill me. Tapped. Yeah! Okay, I get to hold Counterspell up and attack for 1. Oh, Spell Snare. That's even better. All right. Now we're gaming. I'm going to get Watery Grave, play Nether Goyf, and attack for 1. All right, here we go. All right, here's Pact. Well, it's all in time. They got the Rider. 1 card left in hand. I mean, it can't be Neoform and counter of any kind, so that's the game, folks. They won't have a Pact to pay for, or they won't have the ability to pay for Pact next round, so this is it. I think it would be the sickest Magic Online play in the history of Earth if they just like waited for a while to see if I lose power again. No, they're chatting with me. They are a local. They're asking if I'm going to the local RCQ tomorrow, and I didn't know about it. But apparently it's during the weekend of the NYSE Open, which I'm already fully committed to. All right, let's concede this game before I lose power again. For real, I'm actually getting nervous. And we did it. Officially have a match result. Okay, so when the things happen, this deck feels really cool, and it feels like Legacy deck. When you have 2 lands that make the correct colors, and a threat, and a counterspell that lines up. But this low land count feels kind of reckless to me when it needs to support 3 colors. Maybe if we were just 2 color. And not only is it 3 colors, but it's 3 colors that's also trying to respect the Harbinger of the Season, its own sideboard, with 2 basic lands that don't cast counterspell. And it's also heavily indexed on Ragavan, which is a card that the format is pretty well adapted to at this point. The best deck in the format, Boros Energy. Ragavan is just not very good against that deck. Though I think those are my critiques. Like, is Ragavan what we want to build our whole deck around? Like, obviously, if you're on the play, you stick Ragavan, it connects, you get a treasure, now you can cast whatever you want. Nuts. We're playing Legacy. But if that doesn't happen, it can feel kind of anemic, and there were a couple games where I just like died with a Spell Snare that was in my opening hand, still in my hand 7 turns later. Mostly it's the mana, though. I think I want another land in here, even if it's a Surveil land. Like, give me an Undercity Sewers over maybe you play 3 Ragavans and just give me a land instead of one of them. Though, of course, cutting a Ragavan and adding a tap land reduce your turn 2 Kaitos significantly, if that is what you're trying to do here. We did lose to 3 fair decks and then kick the crap out of 2 combo decks, so maybe, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. The decks that are trying to get a critical mass of stuff together over a couple turns rather than just get on the board. The 2 Tron decks, even with 4 Consigns, 2 Harbingers in the sideboard, they both took me down. I'm always trying when I'm tuning a deck to raise the floor, not raise the ceiling. And by that, I mean every deck has a nut draw, or just like what's your best goldfish? What's, if you were cheating, what 7 cards would you put in your hand? Every deck has that upside, and every deck's nut draw is good, or else what's the point of your deck? But what's the non-nut draw look like? I mulliganed. Not only did I mulligan hands in this league that just had 0 lands in them, like a lot. I think I mulliganed 4 times because I had 0 lands and 7 cards. But I also mulliganed hands that were like 3 lands, consigned to memory, lightning bolt, force negation, because they just didn't apply pressure. And what's your catch-up mechanic with this deck? Psychic Frog can win a game that you're behind. It can show up, stabilize the board, then turn around, massive damage and card advantage. Like, Psychic Frog is a catch-up mechanic. I think Kaito might be able to turn around some boards, but probably not on its own. If you're not ahead and staying there, this deck does feel like you're top decking dead a lot. Maybe even add an Otawara. That's like an 18th land that also solves random problems like that Ensnaring Bridge that completely colded me. And then I don't have to bring in Meltdown against a deck that only has an artifact if they have already resolved a 4-drop and then wished for a card and then resolved another 3-drop. Like, I don't want to bring in Meltdown in those situations. Yeah, I think I'd find a cut for Otawara. It's a blue source. It's a flex spell if you don't need the land. Maybe Otawara is better than the Undercity Sewers I mentioned before. I'm giving this a harder critique than normal because Rick asked for it. And those are my thoughts. I'm going to leave that here. Everybody, thanks for watching. Rick Hardpack, thanks for sharing the deck. Everyone, be sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.